Again, today is, that's up to you. Today is August the 1st. I'm still in Lavonia, Georgia, with Mr. Fred Edinger. Did I say it correctly?
Right.
And Mr. Edinger, could you tell me a little something of your experience during the World War II era?
Yeah, I can start from when I enlisted, which was in December of 40. I was on the farm there, and we kept coming in at lunch and listening to the radio, and it said, join the army and see the world, and all this stuff, you know, important. So me and the neighbor up there, we decided to see if we could join the army and see the world. So we went and we got our physicals, and we signed up, and they told us we could see Hawaii, you see. But we wanted Air Force, both of us. Oh, you got to go over there in days. So we were infantry on assignment with the knowledge that we would be put in the Air Force once we got there. That was the last we ever heard of the Air Force. Once you get to be one of them foot soldiers, it's hard to get out. Anyway, we went to New Rochelle, New York for a period of about 2 months. And from there we caught a boat to Hawaii, which was about probably February of 1941, because we arrived in Hawaii about March of 41, and we got sick at sea and seasick from a big storm, and they put us in a camp outside until we got rid of all this stuff, and then we ended up in Schofield Barracks. And I was assigned to this Company F of the 27th Infantry, which is part of the 25th Division. My buddy was assigned to, I don't know what company, but the 35th Division. We were in like squares in a city block. I was in one, he was in the next one. So we got into basic training there after a while, and I'd see him at night occasionally. And we got through our basic, and that was considered a peacetime army over there. You drilled a little bit in the morning, and then in the afternoon you caught what they call fatigue duty unless you happen to be a jockstrap with athletic. If you was a jockstrap, you didn't have to pull any of them duties like garbage detail, things like that. But and most of the companies over there in peacetime were jockstrap. Boxing and baseball, I think football. Boxing is one of the main things. And of course, they had a lot of gambling going over there at night. Really gambling. Back off behind our quarters. Big stakes. Some of our sergeants was in that. I didn't get to that. I went to the library pretty much. And one thing I'll never forget, and I won't do it again, me and my buddy each had a bicycle we get bought over there. So we decided to bicycle to Honolulu. Well, that's 27 miles, all downhill. We got ready to come back. We had a lot of walking to do. We never did try to go to Honolulu bicycle no more. Anyhow, we went on with this training, and eventually we got word things wasn't going right. March probably was in September, and they would put us out on alert. And we had a position out past Hanaima Bay, which is on past Waikiki Beach. And then, of course, we were called back in shortly before December the 7th. Anyway, December the 7th, I guess it was about 7 o'clock. It was on a Sunday, and we were down mess hall eating breakfast. And we got this big thing, we heard things going off and so forth, and I was told to go up and wake up the acting first sergeant. He's a big old Irishman, drank an awful lot. And I could, and he said, this, no problem, this is the real thing. He didn't sound a bit excited. We got on back to the company, and they issued us our weapons, and we were to go up and strafe on the roof. These were flat roofs, and we set up machine guns and so forth. And there's a couple of Zeros flying over, not many. They'd strafe the barracks. We didn't catch much of that. But shortly thereafter, we went directly to our position, which is out beyond Waikiki Beach, from Hanauma Bay on around what they call the blowhole. Well, went by Hickam Field, and that thing was all in smoke and fire. And we passed on by Pearl Harbor, and we could see all that smoke there. But one of the things we observed went by on our trucks to our position was the fact that the civilians were out there waving at us. And really, before all this happened, the civilians, they're kind of like most Army folks. They don't want GI, thinking of their daughters, I guess. But anyhow, we got out to be, and we didn't have no what you call gun positions at all. No defense whatsoever as far as gun positions. But what we did have to do for the next 6 months was take jackhammers and dig gun positions in that Coral Rock for 6 months approximately. And during that time we also had a full guard duty, so we were working day and night. In fact, you pulled guard duty at night, you'd have your canteen with you, and you just had to take that canteen there 15 minutes and flash it on your face to keep awake. So we finally got through that part of it. But during that part, and shortly after we arrived there, we were expecting to be invaded by the Japanese armies. But as you know, they didn't bring no troops with them. So we didn't know what. But anyhow, we were scared of these two-man subs. They spotted a few around there, and we were scared of them at night. I was on a gun position over Bay, 37 millimeter, which was a pretty good sized gun, shelled that big on. And get looking at that crosshair at night, and you couldn't hardly keep your eyes open. But we had to have a little enjoyment, and so we had this all closed in with blankets and so forth, and we had cards game going on. We'd play all night. Everybody had the pot at one time. Didn't care. So that passed the time. But anyhow, after about 6 months of that, we got all our beach positions set up, and we were sent back to Schofield Barracks, which was about 30, 40 miles, maybe 50 from where we were at. And then we got into intensive jungle training. We didn't know what was going on. We got a lot of that. And of course we got orders about December the 7th. About a year after that, 42, to go by transport, on transport. Well, before we went, they took us, asked our size for dress uniforms. Well, everybody thought, well, we're going back home. And failing that, we thought we was going to Australia. Anyhow, we were out there on the transports, and I'd say somewhere out there they opened the orders or changed orders, and we went into Guadalcanal to relieve the 6th Marines. Well, it wasn't too bad because the 6th Marines had already been there 6 months. So there was very little firing when we went in, sort of a cleanup situation. But after we got in there, we found there were still a lot of Japs on the island. And what we were told to do, we had all the hills was numbered like everywhere else. And we were to take the high ground. And go down through the valley and up through, and these Japanese snipers was around there. And so we got out there, and I expect took several of them hills. In fact, we was going up one hill, and I guess it was our artillery was falling short, you know. So this fellow next to me, his name was Jones. I seen him fly back. I didn't never see him. I didn't know whether he's hit shrapnel or not. But anyhow, this was the Jones that here, which everybody knows about, which was based on most fellows in our company. And we thought he was a crackpot. Anyhow, we were involved in that, and I was assigned to company headquarters as in the communication. And the communication was required to keep the wires open from company headquarters to platoons. Well, we had to go down through these gullies or valleys when a line was cut, and it might be at night or whenever. And all you had was that little rifle and this roll of wire, and it was scary because you didn't know whether you'd come back or not. Because not that there was that many Japanese there, but they had snipers up in the trees. And then riverbeds was dry, and Japanese, they get down on all fours with a machine gun strapped to their back. You know, they'd be marching along, they get down on all fours and just start shooting. I never did see any of us, but we, being in that headquarters, you didn't get in all the action, but we finally got the Japanese taken care of on that island. And actually, I was only in combat 2 weeks, but during them 2 weeks, you didn't know whether you didn't have nothing but rations to eat, and you had to dig your foxhole every night, and you'd end up in water. It rained a lot. Anyhow, you want to cut.
Excuse me for just a moment. Yes, and
we were at 2 weeks in the combat over there. I was talking about the what do you call them, foxholes being full of water, and you had to stay there day and night until you got orders to move on. And like I say, we wasn't getting anything but this K rations, I think they call them then. And I think the battalion commander, his name is Colonel Scruggs, came along and wanted to know how many wanted to go work in the kitchen. He said, we got some fellows back there either going to deliver hot meals or they're going to be on the front lines. So we started getting hot meals after that. But anyhow, after 2 weeks of that, we went back and we got in the same old stuff that they put in the infantry in. We helped onboard transports and stacked ammunition and food and all that sort of thing. But after I got back there, I got the malaria and the yellow jaundice. And I was in the hospital for, I don't know, a week or two. Couldn't eat nothing when you get that stuff. And you either got to be able to start back eating or they're going to ship you out. Well, I guess at that time I was hoping that I wouldn't eat so that I could get shipped back, you know. But anyhow, I got a transfer there to a support command, I think it's called. Group which was responsible for running all the things on the island, like signs and roads and movies and things like that. And my outfit, company after the 22nd Infantry, of course the whole infantry and division, went back to New Zealand for a break. And I didn't see no more of them until after the war. We finally had a reunion in Atlanta, and I got to see about 6 or 7 of them. The division went on from island to island until they got all the way into Tokyo, and they were there at the signing of the papers and all. I've talked to some of them since. I try to go to the reunions about once a year. They have them anywhere, all over. This year it's going to be St. Louis next month. To get back where I was, Service Command Unit, that's what it was. The Service Command Unit has all them responsibilities of running an island. And I was glad to get out and didn't want it in the first place. You can understand that. But anyhow, I got to work with an old fella from, I call him old, he was 38. I was about 23 to 24. And they put me in there. He was a sign painter from St. Louis. And they put me in a sign painting shop, and I worked in there, you know, doing, I actually didn't do the signs. I built them and painted backgrounds. And I was on that island for 18 months, believe it or not. We was all ready to go home. I had plenty of points to go, but you had to wait your turn. And part of the program that this service command did, they set up movement all over the island. We'd walk at night. We could go see a different picture every night. We could put up mosquitoes and stuff. Because we had things like a plane coming over during the night. What the heck they call that guy? Charlie? I think his name was Charlie. He came over with a Zero, and it dropped these, they actually were bombs designed to go off at tree level to get people, any of the men. So we had Company Street there, and we had a old dugout in the center, and we were supposed to get in that thing when we heard the sirens. And we did for a while, but you get tired of that. And we took our chances. Washing Machine Charlie, that was the guy's name. And I sat out there one night, and I watched P-38 go after it. And them P-38s was fast back then, fastest thing we had. I never did see him shoot them down, though. But during my stay there on that island, there was a big naval battle. I don't know how far out, but it lasted about 3 days and 3 nights, and we heard that. And that was the turning point in that theater of war, because we knew if we lost, they'd invade us, you know.
And that was which island again?
Guadalcanal.
Guadalcanal,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they had a war battle out there, something awful. I've read about it.
Of course. Let me ask you a little bit about your connection to Franklin County.
Well, I worked in Atlanta in the National Guard. After I got out, I went to the National Guard, and I made it a career like Milt made the reserve a career. And I retired from that. So I moved up here. We bought a lot on the lake up here through my brother-in-law, who was already up here. And Then, of course, when I retired in '76, I think, we moved up here on permanent basis. And that's basically where I got connected with Franklin County and Hart County.
Mm-hmm. You've got your hat there. Would you tell a little bit about that logo?
This is the Lightning Division. The 25th Division is considered the Lightning Division. And they've been in the, like I said, they went through all Guadalcanal, New Georgia, Luzon, Japan, Korea, and of course started Pearl Harbor. And then Vietnam came later. And we got, when they go to the reunion, we got Vietnam veterans, we got Korean veterans. This year they're going to honor the Pearl Harbor survivors, which I'm one of. This adventure, see, which is wolfhounds, which is, part of the division. It's got the 27th and 35th composing the division. Well, they are still stationed in their home place in Hawaii. And we have our reunion over there about every 5 years. I've been there twice since I've been retired. Some awful changes over there. Well, they've been trying to get rid of this 27th Infantry. Modernize the Army, but they fought, and all they've been able to retain is a battalion. So they got one battalion over there that's still part of this 25th Division Association.
Well, I'm going to bring this to an early end, hoping I can get back in touch with you. I can get some of these people on as well. But yes, I'd like to, if there's anything else you'd like to...
Pearl Harbor Survivor Medal.
Would you show that off a little bit?
State of Georgia asked us to come down there below the Macon area. And it says...
Why don't you stand up and bring that a little closer to this camera lens? Just bring it right up there.
It says,
there, that's light shining on it there.
Remember Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941.
And you were given that as a survivor of the event?
Right. Down here a couple of years ago, down here below, in Macon area, at Warner Robins. That's where they all, for the state of Georgia only. Each state handled it themselves. So that was an honor to go down there and get that. Some that weren't able to go, they mailed. But that was all right.
I'll ask you the last question I've been asking everyone. If you were talking to younger people, and if you could step 2 steps backwards, just if you were speaking to younger people about the World War II era, is there something you'd say to them?
I'd tell them that it's an experience everybody ought to have, but I would not want to go through it again. And, when you're young, you think different than when you're older, and you don't want to have to go through them things again. Too many sacrifices. And I hope the generation will understand that, and maybe we'll have peace to some extent, and instead of wars.
Thank you very much for speaking with me today.
Okay. Thank you.